bloodstream. So for people who have an argument, or well, they can just put it in our water, they can just put it in our food. No, has to be directly injected in the bloodstream. So that makes you think about everything, and it answers the question of why no cure. Because if you got a cure, guess what? If you're trying to infect the masses of people, a cure is only going to, be given to the person who has it. And if you didn't infect enough people to give them a cure, people are not going to be coming to get a cure. So saying, oh, we have this virus out here, it's crazy. Everybody, you don't want to get it, get vaccinated. That's better. And it's the problem. People are being too trusting of this government and the system and not looking at history and saying, these motherfuckers been trying to change stuff for a long time, but why? Everybody, thanks for watching and thanks for taking the time to purchase and support. By this time, the inauguration has happened, and a few hours later, Vice President Kamala Harris will be swearing in the 2 new Democratic Senate members, who will basically change the Senate and make things a little bit more complicated going forward as far as economy-wise, which we'll get into later in the video. But hopefully it was a smooth transition today, and wasn't nothing too crazy. But this moment marks the dawning of the age of Aquarius and the beginning of a huge technological age, and an age where a time where a lot is going to change. And Biden, being basically the first Jewish president, and this having to do a lot with the money system and the changing of it, it's fitting to put a Jewish president there. But it's a lot that's getting ready to happen. It's a lot getting ready to come into fruition, and it's been a part of the agenda for a long time. So over the last couple years, unraveling this stuff, really since 2018, seeing the direction it was going to go into, but having to wait and see what was going to happen to be completely sure before I make videos and say a bunch of stuff. But now it's basically right here. We know what's coming. We know what's getting ready to take place. And now it's like watching it happen, but understanding a lot of it is going to be dependent on the people as well. It's not stuff that's just written in stone. It's just going to happen. It is really contingent on our reaction and how we react as a people. That's going to really determine the direction they can go, which is why all of this is really important, and all the smoke and mirrors and the time and the effort that they're putting into this deception is the way that it is. But it's so much to get into in this video. We're going to get right into it, and we have to start out with China. And as I talked about before, you guys need to really understand history. And just to make it clear about China, as I said before, some time ago, because China is a major part of this, some time ago, at some point in history, the Chinese made a deal with the white man, with the Aryans. A deal was made that's clear as day. That deal also spread to the Japanese later on and other Asian countries. We can see clear as day with the Chinese, though, that is more, prominent. They made a deal to mix in with the Aryans, white people, change their skin to white, and to basically perpetrate everything that is white and this white power structure, to basically suppress real African history and real African accomplishments. They took the people from out of the old places, anything that would show a link between them and African people. They changed so much, and they went all in on this perpetuation of European white dominance over everything else. Even with the Chinese getting in with the Communist Party and messing with Russia, which is still white folks. This is showing you that, one, you have an economy of people that's supposed to be the largest on the planet. For them to take the role that they took, like what could be a deal? Because we're talking about, Chinese, we're talking about powerful people, and they could fight. It had to be something really big to get them to do what they have done, which is globally, suppress themselves as a people, and not try to take a place as dominance or to be really outspoken as far as who they are as a people. When you pay attention, though, they seem to go hand in hand and follow along with all European, agendas, and to go along with what's taking place with the Europeans and their conquest of, running this planet. And obviously the Chinese have been promised a part in that and will play a large part in, what's to come. Everybody can have their opinions about this, but history just doesn't allow when you just look at the direction countries go. And look at the fact that you have this whole global system that is the same. That's another thing that tells you that what's taking place is this global scheme that the 1%, the elite, has been perpetrating on the planet for centuries. They are all in on this. Now, you had, of course, once China came into the fold, you had a lot of conquest that took place. We don't even know how much conquest took place because they don't even write about some of the stuff. Some stuff we won't never know about. But of course, you had these different European civilizations rise, and they were rising and becoming who they were, separate from the top elite, including China. And what eventually would happen is they would come into the fold. And then eventually they came into the fold enough to where you had this global conquest, at least enough to satisfy the powers that be. And then you had stragglers like, Iran and Libya, African nations, and it has just been centuries of getting these countries into the fold and under control until now they finally have all this stuff, under control. So you would be a fool to believe that a country like America, a country as smart as this country, would be dumb enough to send all the jobs and over 90% of the production of our major resources and consumptions to a country like China, who they don't fully trust and have issues with. I mean, think about that. You have all this drama with China, and you owe them so much money, and they producing all this stuff. It's the perfect thing to say to get people to look the other way and make people just not really question what's clear and obvious. China has to be in on this in order for America to let this happen. But it looks like, well, we owe them so much, but we're going to give them all these contracts and deals and businesses, and we're going to allow them to produce this stuff for us since we owe them so much, and this is going to help us out with that. But what that's going to do is, one, is going to take jobs away from this country. It's also going to destroy the entrepreneurial spirit, but it's going to allow them to basically control the commodities or far as the imports and stuff that we need. So if it's an economic problem, they control what's coming into the country. So it's not like basically we can just say, okay, well, y'all don't want to make cell phones no more. We have all the resources here to make cell phones. We can manufacture our own cell phones. We can manufacture our own PlayStations. We can manufacture our own lamps and cameras and so on and so forth. We can't do that. If they have a hole with China, if they have a hole with Africa, and the gold, the stones, and everything you're going to need to produce these electronics is coming from there, and they have control. So here in this country, in America, we can't, as a people, say, forget them, we're going to produce this stuff on our own, because we just don't have it. We don't have it. And if we didn't have China producing this, we would need to have the relations with Africa to bring the stuff in, or figure out a way to get the stuff in. We would have to do real legit trade and give them something valuable for what they have, instead of going there and destabilizing the country and saying, well, give us this stuff, we're going to help you make money. It's the same with Japan. It's the same with Thailand, clearly whitewashed. I mean, Japan, it's clear as day. Big example. You look at Japanimation, you look at Japanese cartoons, you see real Japanese cartoons or outsider, not mainstream Japanese artists will make their cartoons look Japanese. But there's this huge questioning in, the whole, let's say manga, if you understand Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff, markets where, people are asking a question, why the hell do these characters who are supposed to be Japanese look like white people? Why is that? Why are these Japanese, why is Akira Toriyama and these artists drawing their major, we're talking about their major characters to look like white men? Think about that. And a lot of people say, well, it's really in the eye of the beholder. And it's just us that see it, but they don't see it like that. And we don't understand how they're perpetuating white people as being Goku. Vegeta, dominant, power. I mean, look at this stuff. It's clear as day what they're showing you. And what they're perpetuating is this white power structure, this white dominance. When we see these supposed to be Japanese characters, I mean, look at Naruto, like a white kid. I mean, look at the hair on these people. It's like, it's tough. You see it sometimes, Naruto with the slanted eyes a little bit, but even still, he looks like a white boy. You know, characters that's drawn and created by Asians, predicted as white people. So it tells you it's something going on. It's like I said, it's the same thing I said with the American Express card. Why is a Roman soldier on the card? You know, why is it that across all these platforms, we see this domination of this white view or this white image being the power or the superpower to the masses? So it's one of those things, as I said, they took a deal. They made a deal to have an agreement to basically do what they have done. And this is one of the things we got to remember and understand as to what's coming and how China plays a major role in the whole thing. As you know, when the hammer falls, you know, they have a choice to make economically. And if they're with America, it's going to show. So as I said, these nations came together, and you have a small amount of people who have this knowledge, who have decided to, you know, run these countries and deceive the people. At all costs, the people must be kept in the dark. So we have this going on. And then you have to ask yourself, what is the purpose of a government? What is the government's job? What are they supposed to do? And above all, they are supposed to protect the people. You know, economics, basic resources, you know, protection, healthcare, so on and so forth. It's basic, essential things that a government is supposed to provide for the people that these governments have failed at, because there's a reason behind it. If we had everything that we needed, the things that they want to suggest that goes towards their overall agenda wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be needed. We'll be fine. Okay, we have food, we have water, we have what we need. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do that? That'd be the question when we have everything we need. So you have to destabilize and control and divide and conquer to get to an overall point. And then you have the whole aspect of universal law being in play. So it's not easy. They can't just, you know, take over. So we have everybody not united. We have all this chaos, all these problems going on, this arguing and bickering back and forth over stuff that really don't matter if it's not going to contribute to, you know, the people getting what they want. You know, Republican, Democrat, all that is stupid, it's childish. I talked about this on my Instagram about how, you know, if you have two kids fighting over a toy, you take the toy because they obviously can't share with each other, so you take it. You as parents can't be arguing over which kid is right, or you're no different than the children. So it's like we as a people have allowed this to happen, and this is what we got to realize. We have allowed them to do this because, one, the people who are the amount, the large amount, the most, the powerful, the voice, who can actually get shit done, it's being fooled because of their skin color. They believe because they're white, they are privileged, and that this government is looking out for their best interests. And at the end of the day, if they can go to work and eat and feed their family, so on and so forth, and then turn on the TV and look and see white power, they feel comfortable. If they could turn on the TV and look at the newspaper and look online and see white power is still dominating the world, they're still on top, they go with the flow, because that's how they feel. Like, I'm on a winning team, you know, this is where I belong, I'm going to go with my people, and we running shit. And that's a deception that's happening and what they're using to divide and conquer. But you have the people, the white folks, who can actually make real change, who are making some noise, but it's controlled. You give the people what they want. That's what's going on, which we'll get into. But it's a deception, plain and simple. So we have to get out of the whole mindset that there is no conspiracy. I know you guys watching understand this, but a lot of people still think the government is on the up and up. But we have to understand that it's bullshit. These people are trying to take over, period. They are basically doing everything that they have planned to do for hundreds of years. There's not no smoke and mirrors. How much more do we need to see for people to understand what's taking place? It's bullshit. Every year it's the same stuff over and over again. They are not meeting the basic essential needs of the people. They have never done so. They have done nothing but take away and strip us of liberties, strip us of, you know, basic essential shit that we need and that we should have that was provided, in the Constitution. And as I said before, when the Constitution was originally written, it was originally written and it makes sense. It was just for the people, by the people. And that's one of the things we got to remember, that it is no longer for the people, by the people. And it's clear as day that this place has been taken over and these people are basically going forward with an agenda that they've been planning for a long time. So, said all that to get you into that understanding, to, forget what you've been hearing. If you conspiracy theory bullshit, this is real. This is what's going to happen. And what we're going to get into in this video from here on out, so it's going to sound scary. And I'm not here to spook people, but this is what's coming. And it's just for people to be prepared, because, the hammer is going to fall either way.